Welcome to There is a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell. I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's Fitness Programs, and I've been in business since 1994. We're going to talk about different kinds of rest strategies today, both active and passive rest. Before I get into that, let me thank Jonathan and Lynn Gilden of the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. They currently have over 280 five-star reviews on Zillow. They handle both commercial and personal properties. They will help you sell your house. They will help you buy a new house. They love handling the Ormond Lakes area, but they can handle anything in Volusia County. If you're interested, give them a shout at thegildengroup.com. So let's talk about different rest strategies. We have passive rest and we have active rest. I'm going to explain these things, then I'm going to talk about why we need to think about these things and how to incorporate them into our fitness, health, and life program. So passive rest is simply rest. Passive means you're not actively doing anything. You are, in this case, just resting. So obviously in there, that's sleep. That is a passive rest technique that's important. At the same time, as it being important, we don't want to obsess too much over it. There's all kinds of studies out there saying, how much and what time and what's ideal. And lately there's been, well, I shouldn't say lately, this has been going on since I've been in business. So since I've been working in my career, so that's like 30 years, people coming out and saying the exact amount of hours that you need to sleep and how much REM sleep that you need. And, the bottom line is it changes. It's just not true. There isn't a perfect number for one individual. There isn't a perfect time of day at night to go to sleep or to wake up. There just simply isn't those numbers. There aren't those numbers. There are multiple different sleep programs per se that work. So I don't want you to get too caught up in it because I know what happens when you do, then you don't sleep, and that is the problem. And facts are facts, and what we've seen in the research is some people need less sleep than others. So I don't want you obsessing over that too much because that's simply not good at all. All right. So, but the point of today isn't to just talk about sleep. It's to talk about all the different active and passive rest strategies. And I'm just pointing out that sleep is definitely a passive rest strategy, that we do need to get a sufficient amount of sleep. And it is different for each and every person. Other forms of passive rest is just sitting down, lying down, going to the beach, relaxing. Those are all things that we need to do. I know it sounds obvious, and it will all make a little more sense as I get more into this. But passive rest strategies are important, as are active rest strategies, because what happens is we grow at rest. All right. We break our body down with stress. And in this case, I'm talking the kind of stress which is called eustress, EUSTRESS, or positive stress. We break our systems and body down with exercise, fitness, running, jogging, weightlifting, or lift weighting, whatever, all those things, CrossFit, canoeing, kayaking, rowing, whatever, you name it, sports. We break our bodies down. When we break ourselves down via exercise and or other stresses, that is called catabolic. Okay, catabolism, you're eating yourself, you are breaking yourself down. We don't grow unless we're anabolic. Anabolic means growth. All right, so the only time we get into anabolic mode is when we rest. So we have to have the right balance between work and rest. Typically when people get overuse injuries, or probably most injuries that aren't freak accidents, like an ACL tear is usually an acute injury that is more of a freak accident type of thing, meaning somebody planted their foot, turned the wrong way, and ruptured their ACL, anterior cruciate ligament, along with typically their medial meniscus usually goes at the same time. Not that some overuse stuff couldn't have contributed to the vulnerable joint, but also if that person would have been on a perfect work to rest ratio routine, they could have still torn their ACL. So there are injuries like that there's not a lot we can do about except be as prepared as we can. But a lot of other injuries, a lot of like patella tendonitis, which is called jumper's knee, runner's knee, which is chondromalacia, even some meniscus injuries. Get into the hips, we're talking bursitis. Get into the ankles, we're talking Achilles tendon strains. All those things can happen due to a work to rest balance that is out of whack. So some way, shape, or form, the person's doing too much activity and not enough rest. So we break down during catabolism, we grow during anabolism. So we need passive rest. Absolutely. But more important than that is active rest. Active rest means what are we doing covertly to help ourselves recover? Now, active rest has a lot of different categories within active rest. So there are modalities in the active rest family, such as massage, such as stretching, both active and passive stretching. That is all forms of active recovery or active rest, because when you get deep tissue massages, sports massages, or even light touch massages, you're actually facilitating circulation and you're helping the body rid itself of some toxins. So that is called active rest, and that helps greatly. You don't find any professional athletes today that aren't taking advantage of active rest modalities such as massage and then getting stretched by somebody else or stretching themselves. But active rest also takes the form of light exercise. There's been study after study that has shown a person is going to recover faster from workouts if they do active rest in between their hard workout days versus taking workout days off. So in other words, it's better to go out and do something light after a hard workout. So 24 hours later, such as a nice walk, maybe even a light jog, easy bike, play some tennis, play some pickleball, play some golf, but stay active. That is a form of active rest that has shown to increase the person's recovery rates and help them be stronger and more fit than if they just took days off in between. Now, VO2 max has been studied in all this, and that is the volume of oxygen at its peak. So that's what VO2 max is. And it's been studied and it's been shown to say that if you're between 40 and 50% of your VO2 max on a weight-bearing exercise such as walking and jogging, you're going to facilitate more recovery. And if you're talking cycling, the VO2 max number is 30 to 45%. Now, right now, you may have just like hit mute and said, or not mute, but stop. I'm not going to listen to this. He's getting all these technical numbers. I did that on purpose to say that none of that really matters a whole lot. I mean, number one, when the exercise scientists are releasing these numbers and people are reading them in the magazines and go, oh, so my day off from my run, I really should spend it going 50 to 60% of my VO2 max versus taking the day off, and that is the ideal amount of active recovery. Or if you're a cyclist and you read that in Bicycling Magazine or whatever, then you think, oh man, I need to be between 30 and 45% of my VO2 max, which is a lower number than running, simply because cycling is usually about 10 beats lower in your heart rate than running due to it not being weight bearing. Typically, all those things can change with intensity, but that's why the numbers are lower. Yeah, I mean, number one, you can't really measure that. You can use correlations to heart rate, but you'd have to go through this formula process to figure it out. And a lot of times people ask me, I said, well, you don't have to worry about that. You have to use, or you should use, common sense on things like that. So if you know for cycling, it's going to be even lower intensity due to the fact that at your peak, for most people, again, there's many, this is a big generalization, I get it, but for most people, the heart rate's like 10 beats lower across the board. So the intensity is going to be lower on the bike on your active rest days than it would be if you're going to, say, power walk on your active rest days. I don't say jog because most normal people cannot run in their active rest zone. It's just too hard. Now, if you're a Kenyan, an elite runner, maybe you can pull it off. Most people, because they simply, due to the biomechanics of running and the weight-bearing nature of it and the fact that most of us are not 110 pounds, the heart rate is going to get pretty high even at a jog. Not a super high, like that's good for you or not good for you high, but too high for recovery. So for most people, if they're doing weight-bearing exercise, it's going to be more of a walk. And that's really the point with that, is don't worry about the specific percentages, but just know that active rest, in that case, which is structured, is a good thing. You just go for a walk in between days of hard running days. If you're a runner, if you're a cyclist, you do easy bikes in between your harder bikes versus taking a day off. If you do both, you figure out which one that you want to do, but you incorporate active rest. Now, I want to add to that though and simplify this for you even more. Another part of active rest is also letting your brain kind of get shut off a little bit. And I think that is very, very important. And that this is the most important thing I want you to get out of this. When you're training hard, when you are putting in a lot of hours of exercising during the week, whether you're a runner, whether you're a triathlete, whether you're a cyclist, whether you are a bodybuilder or gym goer or CrossFitter, whatever. Those are the strength sides, then we have the endurance sides, and sometimes we have both. You're putting in a lot of structured, intense workouts. I also believe it's very important when you do your active rest days to not be so structured. Pick a day or two during the week, because I do think that's better to do it this way than to take a full day off, in my opinion. Take a full day off. And I just contradicted myself. That's not what I meant. All right. Take a day or two during the week where you are staying busy with activity, but you're not doing necessarily what you always do. Do something different and active with not a lot of intensity, but stay busy. So that could be if you are a runner, if you are a triathlete, then you say, you know what, I'm going to take up tennis or pickleball, a paddle racket sport. And on those days, I'm not going to count how long. I'm not going to necessarily start my Apple Watch or my Garmin watch. I'm just going to play for the sense of playing. Or if you played basketball or something like that, or soccer or volleyball in high school and you miss it, so maybe a day or two during the week on an active rest day, you say, I'm just going to go to the courts and play a sport. Yeah, sure, that can be pretty intense. I get it, but part of this is letting the mind recover from the structured part of your life, of your workout. So for me, I like to take a day and say, I'm going to play pickleball today. I enjoy it. That's going to be a nice workout for me. I also, for me, love to incorporate just walks, just nice long walks out in the woods, so to say. We were able to do that when we were up in New York. We just went when we felt like turning around, we turned around. Didn't necessarily worry about a certain pace. If we saw some nature that we wanted to look at, like I was chasing around a butterfly trying to take a picture of it, and I think I never got the picture. It was actually kind of entertaining. But, I'm not going to sit there and worry that, my pace is getting slow here, my average pace. Like, take days where you're just not so structured. And yes, that could even be with the gym. I mean, all these things we got to be careful. We could overdo it on active rest days. But if we're really getting better at listening to our body, we're not going to do that. So that could be with gym days too. So let's say you have a super structured routine of 3 times a week and you're doing like a push-pull or you're doing a full body, whatever. But there are 3 intense days at the gym of working out. There'd be nothing wrong with incorporating a 4th day and just say, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to play around. I'm just going to do different things that I like to do. Naturally, that can get in the way of recovery if you overdo it. I get all that. So don't send me emails saying, well, I did chest 2 days in a row after doing that. I mean, then you're missing the complete point. Yes, all those things can happen, but listening to your body and learning how to turn all of that off for a little while is going to be so productive compared to always staying on your extreme anal retentive plan and having even your active rest days as completely structured as your workout days. I like to do both. I have days where I'm looking at numbers and I'm trying to improve. As I've said before, if you can measure it, you can change it. Absolutely. But then I have days, recovery days, active rest days, where I don't want to worry about that stuff. And if I get on my bike and I want to, even if I'm riding my road bike, which is all formal and everything, but I'll get on it and say, you know what, maybe I'll just go blankety blank to this stop today and turn around. I don't know. I'm not going to really time it. Let me just see what's going on. That is very important for yourself, for me as well. So we have to have, or I believe we should have, these good active rest, non-structured days. And the research confirms it for sure. And I know people say, well, what about the day off? Well, I've explained that. I mean, the research has already shown that active rest days help you recover better than complete days off. Even if you're injured and hurt some part of your body, there's other things you can do for sure. You don't have to always do what you think you have to do. There could be other things that you try. I had a client say to me today, they said, so they were a little surprised when I said that when we were up north, we visited this gym. We found a little gym we like. And went in, I talked to the owner a little bit. I met him. We exchanged our Instagrams and stuff. And he's a super nice guy. Nice little gym up in Ellenville, New York. And good dude. And, they were surprised that I worked out. They're like, you worked out? And I said, it's not a chore to me. I liked it. And we did exactly what I just said when we went in there. Ellen and I did in Ellenville. I thought that was pretty cool. We simply did stuff we like to do. We just practiced different exercises we like. I looked around the gym. I saw what he had. It was pretty similar to what I have here, a small place, studio style. And, I said, oh, let's do some of these. Let's do some of these. He had some Cybex machines I hadn't used in a long time. I'm showing Ellen some of the Cybex machines. So that's an example. But I don't like just to take days off. I don't like it. I mean, it's good for my brain, and that's what I told the client. I said, it's good. I enjoy it. I love to get a sweat going. We warmed up for 15 minutes. We did a little workout that maybe took 30, and then we went back over on the bikes and cooled down for 15 and talked and chatted. Nothing was intense. Got a little sweat going, but nothing was awful. And, I don't record that stuff. That's just a good active rest workout. So, find ways to balance it for yourself, but forget the numbers, the VO2 numbers I gave you. What I really want you to focus on, telling yourself structured versus non-structured. And on active rest days, do more non-structured. Intense versus moderate to light. On active rest days, go moderate to light. Keep it that simple. And then fun factor, don't do things you don't like on your active rest days. And I would also argue don't do things you necessarily don't like on your hard days either, because why are you doing it? None of us like intervals while we're doing them, but I can't say I hate them either. If I hated them and thought there's no benefit to them, I'd have to question my sanity on that. So it's not like we're going to love every bit of our workout, but if we're doing things we really don't like, then that's not good. We have to enjoy somewhat what we do. All right? Just like I enjoy training Jeff and Zach Hawk of Overhead Door of Daytona Beach. Zach was here this morning working out hard as he always does. I've had him busting his tail on their new Concept 2 bike and Concept 2 rower, and then doing a combination of strength training. And every time he comes in, we do something different. He absolutely loves it. And then he leaves here and he goes to work, and he has a great day out there helping people with customer service with Overhead Door. And Papa Jeff comes in tomorrow. And let me tell you, they're just flat out the best. I am so happy with how they've helped us with our garage doors. So if you need any help, please give them a shout at overheaddoor DaytonaBeach.com.